Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and there's no doubt that changes need to be made. And I'm going to talk about why I'm making some of these changes in a moment. But I'm actually getting ready to go ahead and sell roughly 35 to 40% of my PlayStation 4 collection. I'm actually going to be taking these games to mom and pop game store to basically sell or trade these in and see what I can get. Now, this PlayStation 4 is actually my second PlayStation 4. I have two PlayStation 4s. There's no reason for me to have two. This was the one that I had that was open. I do have a sealed PS4 as well. So I'm going to keep this sealed, and I'm going to be selling pretty much this used PS4 with majority of these games in here being used. There are a few sealed games in this bunch, but gonna be kind of making that change there as well. And this is just one of a few moves to downsize the collection. I'm actually gonna be doing two sales today. So I'm gonna be selling the PlayStation 4 collection and a few select Switch limited edition games to one mom and pop shop. And then I'm gonna be selling another huge chunk of my collection to a different mom and pop shop. Now, the reason why I'm not selling all of the games to just one mom and pop shop is because not all mom and pop shops operate the same. There are some mom and pop shops that do not accept PlayStation 4 or Switch games. They're only looking for retro, but they do actually pay more for the retro games. So it actually makes more sense for me to take my Gen 7 and older stuff to one mom and pop shop and then bring all of my PlayStation 4 and Switch stuff to the mom and pop shop that does take, 8th gen games. I probably won't get as much for it, but these are pretty much games that I'm willing to part with. And again, I'm going to talk about why pretty much right now. So a big part of me wants to kind of get out of modern gaming as much as possible, right? I really do not want any mainstream AAA, you know, titles in my collection for a lot of these modern systems. So you're gonna see in this batch here a lot of just really common games, some of which are doubles, like Ghost of Tsushima. I already have a copy of that, so that was just a double. I think there was a point where you could get a copy of Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 4 for like 15 bucks one Christmas. And I don't know why I bought like 3 or 4 copies. I did. And I've sold them off like little by little here and there. I've used them for trade bait here and there. But I'm really kind of just trying to weed out my PlayStation 4 collection. I'm seeing a trend with modern gaming that I don't really know how I feel about it. There was an announcement that Xbox is going to be increasing the prices of all of their hardware. And I see the writing on the wall with modern gaming under these like financial conditions. And I don't feel like the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't feel like at this point for me, my feelings and opinions can change, right? I'm still very much into the PlayStation 4 for certain games. Like for instance, Rez. I think Rez is an amazing PlayStation 4 game that makes keeping a PlayStation 4 worth it to me. You've got other games that came out on the PlayStation 4 that I'm a huge fan of. You've got games like Crisis Wing. You've got other games like, the Deception 4. So there's a bunch. And then I have a lot of like limited run and like, strictly limited stuff on here, like Assault Suit Lanos, which I'm pretty sure is getting there's going to be an Assault Suit Lanos 2 release. I think limited run is actually going to be releasing Assault Suit Lanos 2. So, Mighty Goose, there's a number of just, more indie titles that I'm definitely into when it comes to the PS4. But just overall, just the pricing for these games is kind of getting crazy, even for me. Like, and I'm the type of person that I don't mind spending the money when I see the value there. But for me personally, I don't really have any kind of nostalgic ties to modern video games. I don't I don't necessarily have the time to be able to put into some of these games. in terms of just, gaming for hours. I just don't have it. A lot of the time that I spend, even if it's just on YouTube, that time that I spend on YouTube is typically while I'm at the gym. Like if I'm on the treadmill, I'll join a live stream and watch the live stream, or I'll participate that way. But I don't have the time to play a lot of these very broad and expansive games that take weeks to beat, and I'm just not that skilled to be able to make my way through some of these games as fast as like an avid gamer will. So, my sweet spot for gaming is really going to be in that NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis era. From that era to probably about the PlayStation 2 era. You know, that's kind of the sweet spot for me. I don't want to completely abandon 7th gen, being PS3 and 360 games. I still have some faith in that generation, but I'm really gonna be scaling back 8th gen. So gonna be, like I said, gonna be heading out, selling off, like I said, about 35 to 40% of my PlayStation 4 collection. And then what you don't see here is the you don't see the Wii U collection. So I'm completely selling my Wii U collection as well. So all of the Wii U games, the consoles, all the accessories, the Pro controllers, all of that stuff is being sold today as well. Now, what do I plan on doing with that money? So I plan on doing a couple things with the money that I get from selling these games. One of the first things that I plan on doing is I'm probably going to break it up. I'm actually going to be taking some of that money that I would have spent to buy video games, and I'll probably be investing some of that money. I do want to get back to just traditional investing, and I might begin to talk about it a little bit more on the channel. Um, Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, um, things like that, IRAs. I really want to kind of start looking at that and talking more about that, because I feel like, securing the financial future is just as, if not more important than preserving retro video games. And I know this is a gaming channel, but I kind of want to start to diversify. And some of the money that I spend on even retro games, I think I'm going to start splitting that monthly budget apart. I create a monthly budget for how much I'm going to spend on retro games, and for the first 3 to 4 months of the year, I was kind of blowing through that budget, with just a lot of the stuff that I was picking up, especially when you think about all the GameStop pickups and things like that. But like I said, I think I want to start kind of steering my direction back towards finances. A lot of you may not know, but I'm very much into the stock market. I'm very much into real estate as well. And those are two things that have enabled me to be in a position to be able to build the gaming collection that I have now. And just with where this market is at, not only just for retro, but now modern gaming. Modern gaming has, completely exploded to a place where it's just not even, it just doesn't even make sense. You're gonna wind up spending anywhere from $750 to $1,000 to get the new Switch 2 setup. I mean, obviously the base console is only $450 plus tax, but when you consider the games that you need, when you consider the memory cards for the storage, extra storage that you need, when you consider all of the accessories, Pro controllers, all of that stuff, you're talking about $700-800 just to get into that ecosystem, in terms of the Switch 2 ecosystem. So it's a lot, and I'm not at that spot right now where I kind of want to dive into that. So a lot of the games that I have for my Switch, because I do have a pretty decent sized Switch collection, I'm actually just setting a good number of games aside to give to my daughter as she, gets more and more into the Switch. So, we'll see where it goes from there. But I will be getting footage of my travels today. I will be recording pretty much, all the pickups and stuff. So I'll let you guys know, how it all turns out. And I will catch you in the next video. But until then, it's the Y2K Collector. It's Friday. Hopefully you have, a solid weekend of game hunting. And I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.